Hello, welcome to my garden tour. We'll start at this raised bed that takes up one end of the house. I guess we'll start with this guy. It's a ground cover, and I think the people who lived here before us planted it on the hill way over there, and it made its way here. It's pretty. People buy it, so I mean, I don't want to hurt it as long as it doesn't take over my other plants. But you can see my gnome is keeping things clean over here. This is a Japanese iris. Woo! They've already bloomed this year, but they'll come back next year. And these little guys are dwarf irises, and they've already bloomed, but they'll come back. Here I've got some lemon balm from my pal Lori from a couple of years ago, and it comes back. Right now it's blooming, so it's gone to seed, so it's starting to reseed for next year. My rosemary, I love rosemary, and this is her second year back, so hopefully she'll keep coming back and continue to get bigger. You can see more Japanese irises there. Loads of sage, and it too is going to seed. Sometimes when you look at the gravel portion of our driveway, if you look closely, you can see little guys creeping out. These are both lemon balm that are sneaking down the driveway. I haven't the heart to stop them. So back here is the catnip, also in its seed phase. Beautiful, the kitties love it. So I take it in fresh, or I can dry it, give it to the cats, make some tea, so many things. More irises. We'll be back. So all this stuff I've planted myself, except for this green and white thing at the beginning. So here's another one I didn't plant, but I'm really glad it's here. The couple who owned this house before we did planted these blueberry bushes. Look, look. I'm just going to step outside and have a bite of fruit. I love it. Love it, love it. So here's a little tomato. It's not doing much yet, but it's perking up. It's looking better. Another tomato. It's coming along slowly but surely. These marigolds I planted from seed in this terracotta seashell from my pal Amber. Yay, thanks. Of course the azaleas, but they're not blooming. They bloom early spring, and they're gorgeous when they do. They're two pinks and a purple, but you know, that's past. More irises. These are the tall irises. These are not the dwarfs or the Japanese. These are like the regular tall irises. And they're purple. They're gorgeous. Here's my front gate. Let's go in. The first guy we meet at the gate is this ginormous tomato. I'm so proud of it. And I've already got some little guys. Some little green tomatoes. Will be delicious. Yay. So, next to it is another tomato. And another. And, oh, here's my lilac bush. And it blooms purple. It's the best smelling thing ever. But we've missed those blooms at this point. That happened in spring. The hosta. This is my favorite thing. My little pond. It makes me so happy. I've got water lilies, obviously. One's blooming here. These little guys. There's a frog bit. Oh, there's a snail. Hello. They float on the surface. They have their own little roots there. See? Very cool. And that guy in the back, he looks kind of crummy right now, although it is starting to bloom again. Those purple blooms. That's pickerel, and I split it up recently. That's a fifth of what was there before. It was really taken over. Speaking of taking over, if you plant mint, plant it in a pot, because it will take over anywhere you put it. And this one actually is climbing out of the pot and onto the ground. So it'll be a very minty yard soon enough. Up there, there's a petunia from my friend Michelle. Hi. And my pansies have gotten very leggy. It's strange that they should still even be here because they're an early spring flower. So while the petunia looks great, the pansies look kind of leggy and weird. I mean, they're still blooming. I don't have the heart to tear them out of the box, you know? So we won't. More petunias. This is my favorite spider, Howard. Hi. He's a funnel web weaver. They call him a barn funnel spider. He's nice. He's shy. Petunias. This rhododendron is gorgeous when it blooms. Ginormous purple blooms. Beautiful. Next to it you can see my roses. The red ones are really pretty, but the pink ones smell so good. Oh my gosh. There's more leggy petunias. You'll notice our yard is not really grass. Not really any grass per se. It's mostly planting, which is super medicine. And you can also see clover, which I love because I have a knack for finding 4-leaf clovers, if you didn't know, and that's kind of my thing. So better to have food and medicine than grass. Who needs grass? Not me. Some lilies. They're among the roses. Ooh, gorgeous. So let's go to the backyard. Through another gate. This plant just beyond the gate here, or beyond the fence, this is a Kalmia latifolia, which is a variety of mountain laurel. My favorite variety, actually. Mountain laurel's my namesake. So, haha. And of course the woods. Woods are full of food and medicine and wonderful things. And we get lots of birds and turkeys and lizards and squirrels and chipmunks and things. So it's fun. And there's my pooch. Here's the gazebo. This is my handsome husband having a read. Hello. My pool. My happy place. So beyond all this English ivy that's just taking over, get back here to my garden, the rest of the garden. Let's see, we'll stop here. Maybe I should go upstairs for this, I don't know. Anyway, if you can see in this porch box, there's basil, chives, and oregano. Over here, these are voluntary basil plants. They just came up on their own. We planted them here last year. And some came back and some we replanted. It's kind of cool. And the chives came back. This one is curry, which smells amazing. It's a heavenly smell. This thing here, it's kind of rough looking. This is what I call the Tato Tower. I used a piece of wire fence and newspaper and layered seed potatoes and dirt and made a Tato Tower. So see how these look kind of crummy? They're supposed to look like that. I swear. When the potatoes are growing, they have this thick, lush green plant. And then as it starts to die off, you know your potatoes are almost ready. So it's just started to kind of wilt and die. So potatoes are coming soon. Not yet. Soon. It's exciting. And I want to tell you about my butterfly bush. When we bought the house, there was this scrubby little bush, and my husband said, that thing's dead, let's tear it out. And I said, no, don't you touch it. And it's become this huge, gorgeous butterfly bush that the butterflies and hummingbirds come to. And if you can see behind it, I don't know if you can see the orange trumpet vines. My hummingbirds love those. So back to the garden. Okay. There's another doggy. Hello. The scarlet runner beans. So these guys, I saved some seeds several years ago, and I found them and didn't think they'd grow, but I gave them a chance. I planted 5, and I've got 1 happy beanstalk. So hopefully she'll give me some beans. Even if it's just a handful, I'll be happy. Here's my cucumbers. Look, I've got baby cucumbers. Hello, babies. Yay. This one is a lavender plant, which I love lavender, and I use tons of lavender around the house. So, I think I'll find her a bigger, more permanent home around the house, around the yard. So hopefully she'll come back year after year. So my squashes, this is an interesting story. I see here where something has been nibbling. And see how it's a really even, straight cut? That's the work of a cutworm. So every year we have this debate. He wants chemicals and I want natural. So this year I broke down and said I can't tolerate cutworms, so do what you will. And he dumped 7 Dust all over my squashes, and the cutworms came back anyway and laughed at his 7 Dust. So my idea was to use just some dishwater. We had parasites in a shrubbery before, and we used just Dawn dish soap and water, which is what I did. And guess what? Yay, she's come back, she's rallied, and I've got baby squashes. Woohoo! Yay! So if you haven't noticed, I do a lot of recycling, and the squashes are in a repurposed wheelbarrow. He broke a handle off, and so I sawed the other one off, and guess what? Squashes. These tomato plants are actually in coolers that we would get at the clinic where I worked. The vaccines would come in these foam coolers that they would just throw away. So I helped myself. Now I'm growing things in them. So some of these little tomato plants, he brought home, I don't know, like 8 or 10. We had loads of tomatoes, and then I cut into a tomato and found that it was sprouting inside, and so I planted that, and those grew too. So now we have loads of tomato plants, loads of them, in containers, in the ground, everywhere. This guy, however, look, hello little pepper, banana pepper plant. He's doing great. Look, this one, these are little suckers. Pluck those off. Goodbye, sucker. So long, sucker. So they don't take away from the other parts of the plant, like where your fruits or tomatoes grow. So there's another green tomato. And another green tomato. I might make fried green tomatoes. I might make salsa. I might make marinara. We don't know. These marigolds, these are the same group of seeds that I planted. I love marigolds because they're gorgeous, but bugs don't like the way they smell. So if you plant your marigolds around your vegetables, it's another natural method to keep the bugs out. Also, in my natural gardening, used coffee grounds I dump on my tomatoes in the soil, which raises the acidity, and they really seem to like that. So like this little guy here, you see he's struggling, so he got a nice dose of coffee yesterday. So hopefully he'll come along More peppers. Hello. Tomatoes. Another tomato planted directly in the soil. See, I don't know, there's so many of them. It's kind of an experiment, like who's going to grow the best. This porch box, these were microgreens, and they were all pretty good, but I've let them go to seed, so hopefully we can get some in the same place next year, or I can actually, see there are these little seed pods. I could store those and replant them myself. There's another marigold. More tiny tomato plants. Bigger tomato plants. Tomato plants out the wazoo. Oh, look at this. My first banana pepper of 2020, and I'm picking it now. Boop. Look at that. Gorgeous. Can you see how big? Love it. Oh, Mr. Big Mouth. Mr. Big Mouth has marigolds. So here are my onions. I put these in dish pans because I was running out of space, but you know, you make space. This is under my aerial rig. If you can see, this is where I do my aerial yoga and my knife throwing, and I've been painting fenders. So yeah, you have to make room where you can. Here in the center though, this guy, that's a Thai pepper. Tiny little super hot peppers, and boy is Jeff excited about those. And there's another puppy. She's not a puppy, she's 8 years old. Okay, so these, have you heard of these fancy grow bags they're expensive, and they're like recyclable lightweight flower pot thing? Grow bags, yeah. You know what these are? Reusable shopping bags I got from Dollar Tree. I'm not even joking. Same thing. So I filled them with dirt, and then I used a screwdriver to punch drainage holes in the bottom. And so there's another tomato. A giant tomato. And this the tomato I sliced into that was sprouting that I planted, there's actually like 8 or 10 little plants. I couldn't pull their roots apart, so I'm gonna see if they make it. So this whole section with these bags is like my kitchen scrap garden area. So these tomatoes all came from the one that the inside was sprouting, and I cut it into 3 slices and planted it just for funsies, and damned if it didn't grow, like all of them. So yeah, loads of tomatoes. These two are sweet potatoes. This is my first year trying sweet potatoes, but those came from kitchen scraps as well. More tomatoes. And these are beet tops I rooted. So kitchen scraps, yay. So that whole row of bags, that all came from kitchen scraps, like stuff you would normally just toss out. That's amazing.